Have you ever wondered why, despite working hard, some people never move ahead while a few seem unstoppable? I've seen this in my own life. Many had talent, but only a handful had the discipline to turn that talent into real success. Today, I want to share with you the daily habits that truly separate winners from the rest. In this video, you'll discover the exact routines, mindset shifts, and practices that can transform your life step by step. Most people wait for the right moment, the right inspiration, or the right wave of motivation to begin their work. The problem is that motivation is fleeting, unreliable, and often dependent on emotions. You wake up one morning with great energy, ready to take on the world, but the next day you feel tired or distracted, and suddenly all your plans collapse. Many people spend their entire lives stuck in this cycle, chasing motivation like it's fuel, only to realize that it runs out quickly. That is why most talented individuals fail to reach their potential. They are slaves to their moods instead of masters of their discipline. Talent without discipline is wasted, and dreams without consistent action fade into nothingness. I have seen countless young people with extraordinary skills, ideas, and ambition, but their lack of daily discipline keeps them trapped in mediocrity. They wait to feel ready, but readiness never comes. The truth is, motivation might help you start, but discipline is what makes you finish. The solution lies in shifting the focus from motivation to discipline. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It is the commitment to a routine, a standard you set for yourself that is not negotiable. Discipline is a muscle, and like any muscle, it grows stronger the more you use it. The moment you choose discipline over mood, you take control of your life. Small daily actions, repeated without compromise, create habits, and habits eventually shape identity. Winners do not wait for the perfect day. They create momentum by sticking to their systems regardless of circumstances. This is what separates them from the rest. When others give up because they feel tired or unmotivated, the disciplined individual keeps going. Over time, that consistency compounds into mastery. The greatest athletes, leaders, and innovators are not simply the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to break their routines. Discipline becomes their edge, the force that pushes them forward even when everything else fails. To understand this better, imagine a young student preparing for his exams. One student studies only when he feels motivated, some days for 3 hours, other days not at all. Another student sets a strict routine of 2 hours of study every day, no matter how he feels. At the end of the year, the disciplined student may not have experienced bursts of excitement or passion every day, but his consistent effort gives him mastery over his subjects. His knowledge is solid, his confidence strong, and his results speak for themselves. The motivated student, however, is inconsistent, and his results show the gaps in his preparation. This difference is not about intelligence, but about discipline. In my own journey, I witnessed the same principle in cricket. Talent was everywhere. Many young players had extraordinary skill, better than some of those who made it to the international stage. But the difference was discipline. I remember training day after day, even when I was exhausted, even when I had injuries or setbacks. There were days I did not feel like running laps or practicing, but I forced myself to show up. Over time, that discipline became second nature, and it gave me the stamina and mental strength to perform under pressure. Motivation could never have carried me through the long, grueling process of becoming a professional. It was discipline that turned years of small, repetitive efforts into success. That is why winners are not the ones who do extraordinary things once in a while, but the ones who do ordinary things with extraordinary consistency every single day. Most people start their mornings in chaos. They wake up late, reach for their phone immediately, scroll through social media, and let the world dictate their mood before they even take their first step out of bed. This lack of structure in the morning creates confusion for the rest of the day. Instead of leading the day, they react to it. Their energy is scattered, their focus divided, and by the time they realize it, half the day is gone without any meaningful progress. The problem is not just about waking up late. It's about starting the day without direction. When there is no clarity in the morning, the rest of the day follows the same pattern. That is why so many people, despite working hard, feel stuck. They are not intentional with how they begin their mornings. Winners, on the other hand, separate themselves right at the start of the day. They understand that the way you begin your morning sets the tone for everything that follows. The solution lies in building purpose-driven mornings. This does not mean creating a complicated or unrealistic routine, but rather starting the day with clarity, energy, and intention. Purpose-driven mornings begin with setting priorities before the world interferes. It could mean waking up early, spending a few minutes in silence, reading something uplifting, or planning the most important tasks of the day. The point is to take control of the morning before distractions take control of you. By dedicating the first hour of the day to purposeful actions, you send a message to yourself that your goals and growth come first. It builds mental strength, sharpens focus, and creates momentum. Winners know that discipline in the morning multiplies their productivity throughout the day. A clear and intentional start eliminates wasted time and prevents the feeling of being overwhelmed. It gives a sense of order, direction, and strength. When you begin with purpose, You carry that energy into everything else you do. An example of this is seen in successful entrepreneurs and athletes who guard their mornings like sacred ground. Take the story of a young professional who always felt overwhelmed by his workload. He would wake up late, rush to work, and spend the first half of the day firefighting emails and urgent calls. His performance was average, and he constantly felt stressed. One day, he decided to shift his approach. Instead of waking up late, he began waking up an hour earlier. In that time, he planned his top 3 priorities for the day, exercised for 20 minutes to build energy, and spent a few minutes in reflection. Within weeks, his productivity improved dramatically. By tackling the most important tasks early, he had more control over his schedule, his stress decreased, and he began to feel confident and in charge. His mornings no longer belonged to chaos, they belonged to him. In my own life, I have experienced the power of mornings. During my cricket career, training often began early in the day, and it was clear why. The body and mind are at their sharpest in the morning, unpolluted by the noise of the world. I used to begin with physical training and visualization of the goals I wanted to achieve, whether it was winning a match or improving a skill. Those mornings of clarity shaped my focus throughout the day. Later, in politics, I followed the same principle. Before the day filled with meetings, challenges, and pressures, I would spend time in reflection and planning. That quiet focus in the morning helped me carry strength into the chaos of the day. The difference between a scattered morning and a purposeful morning is like the difference between starting a race tired and starting it with a fresh burst of energy. Winners understand that success is not just about what you do, but how you begin. One of the biggest problems people face today is ignoring their own health while chasing success. They think achievement comes only through late nights, overwork, and pushing themselves to exhaustion. In reality, neglecting health destroys productivity, drains energy, and weakens focus. Many ambitious individuals sacrifice sleep, skip meals, and avoid exercise, telling themselves they are too busy. But what they don't realize is that poor health eventually catches up. It shows up in fatigue, lack of concentration, stress, and even illness. A tired mind cannot think clearly, and a weak body cannot sustain effort. Success becomes harder not because of lack of talent or ambition, but because the body and mind are not strong enough to carry the weight of goals. This is the silent trap most people fall into. They work hard to succeed, but in the process, they destroy the very foundation that supports long-term success, which is health. The solution is to understand that health is not separate from success. It is the fuel behind it. Winners prioritize their energy because they know that without energy, discipline and productivity collapse. Building daily habits that support physical and mental well-being is not optional, it is essential. This means creating routines around proper sleep, regular exercise, balanced nutrition, and moments of recovery. Exercise is not only about building muscles, it strengthens discipline, reduces stress, and sharpens focus. Eating healthy is not only about avoiding illness, it fuels the brain and keeps energy stable throughout the day. Sleep is not wasted time. It is where the mind resets and creativity grows. Even short habits like walking, stretching, or deep breathing can re-energize the body and improve focus. Winners treat their health as part of their system of success, not something to fix later. By protecting their energy, they give themselves the stamina to pursue goals consistently, day after day. Take the example of a corporate leader who constantly pushed himself to the edge. He slept 4 hours a night, skipped meals, and consumed endless cups of coffee to keep going. For a while, he seemed productive, but soon fatigue, irritability, and health problems began to surface. His decisions became sloppy, his performance declined, and his body eventually forced him to stop. Contrast this with another leader in the same field who built his lifestyle around energy. He woke up early, exercised daily, and ate clean meals. He managed stress through meditation and gave importance to sleep. His body was strong, his mind sharp, and his leadership consistent. Over time, he outperformed not because he worked longer hours, but because his energy and focus never wavered. The difference was not intelligence, but the habit of protecting health. In my own journey, I learned this lesson early in cricket. The physical demands of the sport required more than just skill. It demanded stamina, strength, and recovery. Training was not only about batting or bowling, but about conditioning the body through exercise and diet. Many players with immense talent could not survive at the highest level because their fitness failed them. I made health and energy a priority, knowing that without it, I could not compete consistently. Later in life, when I entered politics, the same principle applied. The pressures of leadership, constant travel, and long working hours could easily break someone without physical and mental resilience. It was my lifelong habit of valuing health through exercise, diet, and discipline that gave me the energy to keep moving forward even in the toughest times. Winners understand that success is not just about working harder. It is about working with energy, and that energy comes from taking care of both body and mind every single day. One of the greatest problems people face today is believing that once they finish school or university, their learning is complete. They fall into the trap of thinking education is only about formal institutions. And once they graduate, they stop seeking knowledge. This mindset creates stagnation. The world is constantly evolving. Opportunities keep changing. and new challenges appear every day. Those who stop learning quickly become outdated, irrelevant, and less capable of adapting. Even in professional careers, many individuals hold on to the skills they learned years ago, refusing to grow, and as a result, they get left behind. Success in any field requires more than just working hard. It requires sharpening the mind every single day. A dull blade cannot cut, no matter how much force is applied. In the same way, a mind that does not keep learning cannot innovate, cannot solve new problems, and cannot move ahead in life. The solution is to build the habit of continuous learning into daily life. Winners treat learning not as a phase, but as a lifelong commitment. They read, listen, observe, and reflect every day. Even 20 to 30 minutes of daily study compounds into deep knowledge over time. Reading books, listening to lectures, analyzing experiences, and reflecting on mistakes all contribute to growth. Winners do not wait for formal settings to learn. They learn from every situation and every person. They understand that the more they know, the more opportunities they can create for themselves. Continuous learning also develops humility because it reminds us that no matter how much we achieve, there is always more to understand. It keeps the mind flexible, sharp, and ready to adapt. In a world that is changing rapidly, those who are committed to daily learning remain strong and ahead of the curve. Consider the example of two young professionals entering the same career. The first does only what is required, using the same skills he learned years ago. He avoids reading or exploring new ideas because he feels his degree is enough. The second, however, makes a daily habit of learning. He reads books outside his field, attends workshops, listens to experts, and constantly improves himself. Over time, the second individual begins to see opportunities others cannot see. He brings new ideas to the table, adapts to changes quickly, and becomes a leader in his field. The first one struggles to keep up and wonders why he is not progressing. The difference is not talent or intelligence. It is the habit of continuous learning. Success always favors the curious and the consistent learner. In my own journey, I realized early on that learning never ends. During my cricket career, every match was a lesson. Even when I thought I was at my peak, there was always something to improve. Whether it was technique, fitness, or mental strength, I studied the best players, analyzed their methods, and applied those lessons to myself. Later in politics, the need for continuous learning became even greater. Leadership required understanding history, economics, governance, and people. I made it a habit to read, listen, and reflect every day, knowing that my growth as a leader depended on expanding my mind. The challenges were new, and without learning, I could not have adapted. What carried me forward was not only passion, but also the discipline to keep learning. Winners know that growth is not a one-time event, but a daily habit, and that knowledge is the strongest foundation for long-term success. One of the hidden problems people face in their pursuit of success is the environment they choose to stay in. Most individuals underestimate how deeply influenced they are by the people around them. If you spend your time with those who waste their days in gossip, negativity, and laziness, it becomes almost impossible to rise above that atmosphere. Human beings naturally absorb the energy, habits, and mindset of their surroundings. Many talented and ambitious people lose their drive because they are constantly surrounded by discouragement or mediocrity. When the people around you mock your dreams, distract you with meaningless activities, or pull you back whenever you try to move forward, it becomes a silent weight on your progress. The problem is not always lack of ability, but being in an environment that does not support growth. Winners recognize this truth. You cannot build a life of success in a place designed for failure. The solution lies in being selective about the environment and relationships you allow into your daily life. Winners consciously choose to surround themselves with people who uplift, challenge, and inspire them. They seek mentors who have already walked the path of success, friends who encourage discipline and growth, and environments that push them to give their best. A supportive circle not only motivates, but also holds you accountable. When you see others working hard, aiming high, and living with discipline, you naturally absorb those qualities. Changing your environment does not always mean leaving everything behind. It can mean limiting the time spent with negative influences while increasing time with those who add value. It can mean joining groups, reading the works of great thinkers, or even listening to voices that challenge you to rise higher. The key is to create an atmosphere where growth feels natural and mediocrity feels out of place. Take the example of two young men starting their careers. The first spends his free time with friends who constantly complain, avoid responsibility, and indulge in distractions. Even though he has potential, his energy is wasted on unproductive habits because his circle normalizes them. The second, however, chooses to spend time with peers who are ambitious, disciplined, and forward-looking. They discuss ideas, share knowledge, and push each other to improve. Over time, the second man grows in confidence, builds better habits, and rises quickly in his career. The first one wonders why he is not advancing, not realizing that his environment has quietly shaped his behavior. Success is not only about what you do individually, but also about the company you keep. In my own life, I experienced how the right environment can make or break progress. In cricket, the teams I played with shaped my mindset. Being surrounded by players who were disciplined, competitive, and committed to excellence pushed me to raise my own standards. I remember training alongside players who never allowed excuses, and that culture of hard work became a part of me. Later, in politics, the importance of environment was even greater. There were voices around me that constantly discouraged, saying change was impossible, that the system could never be challenged. But I also kept people close who believed in the vision, who encouraged perseverance and integrity. Their belief strengthened my resolve during difficult times. That is why I say that no one succeeds alone. Your environment either pulls you down or lifts you up. Winners deliberately choose the people and places that bring out their best and give them the strength to keep moving forward. One of the common problems most people face is moving through life without ever pausing to reflect. They get caught in the cycle of working, chasing goals, and dealing with daily struggles, but they rarely stop to ask themselves if they are on the right path. Without reflection, mistakes get repeated, progress goes unnoticed, and life feels like a blur. People often wonder why they feel stuck, despite putting in effort. But the truth is, without reviewing their actions, they cannot see where they are going wrong or what they are doing right. A lack of self-reflection creates confusion, frustration, and wasted time. It's like walking in circles in the dark. You may be moving, but you are not moving forward. Winners, however, separate themselves from the rest by building the habit of daily self-reflection. They recognize that success is not only about action, but also about understanding and improving the actions taken. The solution lies in setting aside time every day, even if just a few minutes, to reflect honestly. This habit allows you to measure your progress, identify mistakes, and adjust your path before it's too late. Daily self-reflection creates awareness of whether your time is being spent wisely, whether your habits are serving your goals, and whether your actions align with your values. Winners are not afraid to face themselves. They ask hard questions about discipline, focus, and purpose. They do not just look at what they achieved, but also why they failed. By doing this consistently, they prevent small problems from turning into bigger ones. Self-reflection also strengthens accountability, because when you regularly examine yourself, excuses lose their power. You begin to take ownership of both your failures and your growth. This simple but powerful routine ensures that each day builds upon the last instead of being wasted or forgotten. An example of this can be seen in students preparing for exams. Two students may study equally hard, but one takes a few minutes each night to review what worked well in his preparation and what did not. He notices when he is wasting too much time on one subject, when distractions are pulling him away, or when his methods are ineffective. By reflecting daily, He corrects his mistakes early and improves steadily. The other student, however, never pauses to reflect. He keeps repeating the same errors until the exam day arrives, and the results expose his lack of awareness. The difference is not effort, but reflection. The student who reviews daily moves forward with clarity, while the other stays stuck in patterns that hold him back. This principle applies not only to academics, but to every area of life: career, relationships, health, and personal growth. In my own journey, I learned the value of reflection, both in cricket and in leadership. During my playing days, after every match, I would sit and analyze my performance. Even after victories, I would reflect on what could have been done better. That habit allowed me to constantly improve instead of becoming complacent. Later, when I entered politics, reflection became even more important. In moments of defeat, I would take time to study what went wrong, not to complain, but to learn. In moments of progress, I would reflect on what made it possible so it could be repeated. This practice kept me grounded and focused. It reminded me that success is not a straight road. It is built through constant adjustments. Without reflection, I would have lost direction many times. Winners know that life is not just about moving forward blindly. It is about pausing, reviewing, and ensuring that every step leads closer to the vision they hold for themselves. So today we talked about the daily habits that separate winners from the rest. First, discipline over motivation. Showing up no matter how you feel. Second, purpose-driven mornings. Starting the day with clarity and energy. Third, taking care of your health, because without energy, success collapses. Fourth, continuous learning, keeping the mind sharp every single day. Fifth, surrounding yourself with the right people, because environment shapes destiny. And sixth, daily self-reflection, correcting mistakes before they grow. These are the habits that build champions. If you found value in this, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear which habit you'll start building today. And stay tuned, because in the next video, I'll show you how to design a personal system that guarantees your success no matter what challenges come your way.